So here we go again, guys. It is starting up as expected. Rings of Power Season 2 is nowhere near coming out, but of course they're going to start the hype train like they did with the first season, and they're starting it off the exact same way. We thought when Morphin Clark came out and admitted that the fans were correct, that this was going to be a sign of maybe things to come, but of course I knew that this was not going to be the case. This person was simply pandering and trying to get people back on her side. Now, with that being said, we have the ultimate person that loves to promote their Rings of Power. And just like season 1, they are sending in their diversity hire to start the train. And this one has to do with Sophia Nomvette, who apparently now has done an interview, and CBR.com, of course, is going to write about it. And it says Rings of Power star talks about playing the Lord of the Ring universe's first dwarf of color. We're back on this again? Like, why are we talking about this as if this is just some groundbreaking thing that we need to bring back up again when season 2 hasn't even hit our shores yet? Why are we even talking about this? But it says the Rings of Power star Sophia Nomvette digs into the impact, of playing the first female dwarf and dwarf of color in the Lord of the Rings franchise. Now, the thing is, it has been proven time and time and time again, CBR, you morons, that she was not the first female dwarf to be showcased either on screen or in the text. She was not the first female dwarf, and yet you want to continue to give her this falsified title simply because she is black. That is the only reason why you are shilling for her. Otherwise, you would not be going so hard. And the fact that you're trying to bring this back up again before season 2 has even come anywhere close to releasing just goes to show how desperate you guys are to make this into a thing. So before we get into the video, guys, of course, consider liking the video, because if you do, it'll help push us out to the algorithm and help us fight the YouTube suppression. So it says, the Lord of the Rings of Power star Sophia Nomvette recently opened up about portraying both the franchise's first female dwarf and dwarf of color. Stop lying. Stop lying. Here, you need proof? All it takes, CBR, is a simple Google search to remind you that there was indeed female dwarves in the Lord of the Rings before. Were they prominent characters? No. Did they have particular names? No, but they were still showcased on screen, and they were showcased the proper way by giving them actual beards like they're supposed to have. Not this glorified fucking Beyonce wannabe dwarf over here that has 2 braided testicles on her head, trying to showcase her as some sort of groundbreaking figure simply because she is black. So it says, during a Deadline Contenders TV panel, Nomvette admitted that she didn't feel too much pressure from the rest of the cast, crew, or even Lord of the Rings fandom, but rather from her own expectations of what she was supposed to be. Despite her concerns, Nomvette still described the occasion as a warrior moment. God, man, do you hear this? Do you hear this? Do you seriously hear the way they think of themselves? How they really, really view themselves? She considers herself to be a warrior simply because her skin color was the right level of darkness for a particular character in a particular modern climate of politics. That's the only reason for her existence. It is amazing to me. This is a moment for history and a moment for so many people that will, I hope, stand the test of time. It was something that was so important to the show. Why? Why was it so important to the show to showcase a black dwarf? What is so important to the overall story of Lord of the Rings that the blackness of a dwarf, which makes no sense to the original text, have to do with anything? I think, and is so important to Tolkien. What? No, it's not. Respecting Tolkien's original material is the only thing that's important to him other than money. It's been detailed time and time again in his letters that he released before his death. These people love to say that they know Tolkien, that they respect Tolkien, all this stuff, but they haven't read a single fucking thing. Let's be real. They haven't read a single fucking thing that Tolkien has ever put out, and they've only been told what they were told by the showrunners who are running the show. That's it. That's the only thing that they know about Tolkien. Because according to them, it was inaccessible before they touched it. It was inaccessible. There was no way that people of color were able to read The Lord of the Rings until a black dwarf suddenly appeared on screen, of course. So it says, I feel like the mere host of this incredible creation, but so honored and so proud to be able to fly the flag for this moment because she is a force to be reckoned with and a dwarf at heart. Well, she's definitely not a dwarf in skin color, so she's got to be a dwarf in something. It says Nomvette also discussed her character, Princess Disa, saying that she has the gregarious nature. She's strong, but I know how important it is for the world. I know how important it is for the world of fantasy and for the world of the walking Tolkien to see the first dwarf princess and to be part of that as a mother, as a woman. What? Oh my God, my brain. My brain literally explodes at the idea of the amount of titles that this woman, this person, is giving herself. She's giving herself an immense amount of titles. I think she gets off on this. She has to, because first is the first female dwarf. Then it's the first female dwarf of color. Now it's the first dwarf princess. And now it's the first dwarf princess that's also a mother and as a woman. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how is any of this even relevant to Tolkien's work is beyond me. The fact that she tried to even compare this to Tolkien is hilarious to me. But again, that's neither here nor there. So it says, back in August, Nomvette opened up about how close she has become with others on the set of The Rings of Power, explaining that several of her co-stars helped her and her husband navigate early parenthood, and Nomvette had given birth to their daughter only days before being cast as Princess Disa. It took a village, and my daughter was raised by everyone and knew everyone, Nomvette said. People were learning how to change nappies. It was amazing. Nomvette's co-star, Robert Aramayo, who portrays Elrond, half-elven in The Rings of Power, replied, I can't believe I'm capable of babysitting, but apparently I am. Well, get used to it, man, because as a black woman, the chances of you raising someone else's kid is probably very high to begin with anyway, so you better, oh my god. Cancelled. It says, casting on The Rings of Power quickly came under fire from trolls and fervent fans online, all the way back to February of 2022. Executive producer Lindsay Weber responded to the outcry by praising the series casting of Nomvette as Disa. It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect the world actually looks like, Weber said at the time. Weber pointedly added, Tolkien is for everyone. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together. It's amazing the wording that they use. So they want to remind you that it's fictional races, right? They want to remind you that Tolkien is for everyone, in the same breath saying that Tolkien wasn't accessible before they actually touched it. So they say it wasn't accessible, but then they also say it's for everyone. Then they want to tell you that it's fictional races, because then they want to tell you it doesn't matter what the skin color is, but then apparently it matters enough to want to recast it and tell another story that doesn't exist. So does it matter or does it not matter? I'm still waiting for people who are on this side of the argument to tell me whether it does matter or not and why the answer is what it is. But of course, they're never going to tell you, because their answer is never consistent. They're always going to give you whatever answer they want to give you that's going to benefit them at the time that you ask them. And that is why I will never take their argument seriously. So listen, guys, the Rings of Power stuff is starting to kick up. Expect more articles and more stories to come out in the coming weeks and months, and I guarantee you I will be there for all of it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.